Yeah, let me do a quick sound check around. Almost there. Yeah, it just took me a couple minutes.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Greg, we're just doing a quick sound check. Can you hear us? Greg, are you there? All right, Gary, I might ask your wife. I just need someone to verify. Jean Petersheigen, can you hear us? Oh, she raised her hand. Okay. Let's see.
She attends more than.
Yeah. Oh, Jean, can you hear us? Jeannie, I said the wrong name. Sorry.
No. You have you guys to bring him in as a panelist.
Okay, sorry. I've been out for a few weeks. I'm back in it. I'm back in it. Okay.
By the time you guys get this figured out, we're gonna be over.
And now Greg is gone. So, all right. Greg, can you hear us?
Wasn't planning on it.
I don't know. He's not responding. He's muted. Greg, you're muted. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Oh, there
we're there.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay.
No speaker on.
Oh.
Yes, I can hear you guys loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
We're good to go.
All right. It is 6:03 on June 17th. We're 2025. We're down at the Mill in Lake Stevens. This is a city council workshop, and I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. So the first thing on the discussion items, it's my understanding we are removing one of the items. Is that correct? Okay, so we will be removing the parks sales tax levy discussion. There's still some ongoing research related to that item, so that will be coming back to us at a later date. With that, go ahead and it's a workshop. Do I need to approve that? We don't need a motion to approve that for workshop. Okay.
No.
I'll go ahead and turn it over to Anya for 2A, America's 250-year anniversary update.
Good evening, council. City Administrator Gene Brazel is out of the office and I'm filling in for him for the next couple weeks. So he's asked me to bring this agenda item forward to you all to update you on the 250th anniversary celebration. The states reached out to the city asking for our involvement and help assisting with organizing the events and encouraging local government to organize an event. We've reached out to the Historical Society and to see what their level of participation would be. I think they are interested in also collaborating on an event for next year. And we wanted to just get council's involvement and what your ideas might be for prepping something for next year. We've listed a couple of recommendations in the staff report. I know Community Development Director has suggested maybe putting up banners along the street lighting for the 250th anniversary. And I know there was talks about possibly a fireworks show and at earlier meetings last year and discussion. And so that might be a good opportunity to also do a celebration in the future. So we wanted to just open that floor up to you all for a discussion on any ideas you might have and the level of city involvement in for this event next year.
I guess I'll go ahead and just start off and say that, I mean, I like the ideas that are in the packet, the idea of, at least doing some kind of banners and lighting. I'd be interested in the details of a city-sponsored fireworks event, what that could look like, but I'm open to it. I don't know if anybody else has other thoughts, suggestions, concerns.
Last year I went to Monroe, and Monroe does an annual thing. They have flags lining Lewis Street, the entirety of the street, and on Main Street. And it is a different feeling when you go and someone acknowledges our country and the respect for it. And so I think that would be a good step in the right direction, that we start on the 250th anniversary to acknowledge our country and the freedom that we enjoy. I'll just note that freedom as we know it has been experienced by one person identified as less than 1% of the human population. And so when we take that into context, we can have our differences and think about things. I said, but that's a really extraordinary opportunity that we have, and it's because of the men and women armed services that work to protect our freedom. So I would like to see that acknowledged and recognized in a more significant way. But I would like to see that going forward. I'd like to see us more like Monroe and having that be an annual thing and not just oh, it's the 250th anniversary, let's do it. Because that freedom came with a price. And when you go to the war memorial and you listen to the names being read off, those are people, men and women who gave their lives for our country. And so I have family that have fought and military veterans, and I certainly want to honor and respect my family and those that have given the ultimate sacrifice.
Well, I agree with Steve, and it's always been in my mind that when we got Main Street redone, that we would be doing this all the time anyway. We'd be doing banners for different things like, holidays and those, and especially for like 4th of July and those kinds of things. So I always thought that we were planning those anyway, and that's the way we did the light poles and stuff for that. Even if it, and I also thought that we were going to do, the flower pots and those kinds of things like Marysville does. Marysville's got State Street all the way down. It's got these great big pots that they do every year. So I've always had that vision in my mind of that's what we're going to do with both Main Street and 91st when we started talking about doing the 91st Street walkable streets. So
And Everett,
I think we ought to be doing it for that.
and the flower colors in the parks. I mean, you can put in those pots red, white, and blue flowers. I mean, Monroe does the color sequencing. Everett has volunteer people that grow and plant and maintain the majority of their flowers, especially around Forest Park. I mean, they get literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in donated expertise that benefits the city. And so we have a lot of gifted, talented people in our community. And I'd be awesome to be able to channel their expertise and their passions and hobbies into something like that.
I agree.
Anything else? I guess my only thought on that would be, I'm definitely on board for 4th of July, celebrating America's birthday going forward. As far as every holiday, I'd want to get some cost numbers before we commit to, redoing the city I don't know how often there's holidays, but I feel off the top of my head, there's quite a few. So I'd be curious how much that costs before we start, committing to all of them. But I do like that idea of, the city being more involved in recognizing special days like that. So
Well, one of the discussions that we would have to have really is 4th of July or a fireworks display for what we're talking about on our anniversary for the United States. And the cost of that is pretty easy to come up with. It depends on how many shells you're going to do. But if you look at what Aquafest is paying, we're paying right around $19,000 for basically 10 to 12 minutes worth of fireworks out on the lake. The other thing that bothers me about trying to do fireworks on the lake is it kind of limits who can actually see the fireworks. We don't have a lot of places where people can go out there and see the fireworks from the lake. You can go to North Park, you can see it maybe depending on where they're at. You can go to Lundin and see them, also depending on where we launch them from. We've got a pretty good place that we place the barge to. Most of the lake can see it, but there are places where you can't see it. So that, that's a decision too, is if you're going to do it on the lake, you're still making it to where only a few people, a minority of the people are going to be able to see it. I mean, I think the greatest place to do it is off top of Safeway. Everybody will be able to see it.
So Kim, to that point though, we have technology and we see, I watch fireworks shows from all over the world, and why can't we use technology to bring that to the people? We have drone access. We have ability to do that. I mean, we've talked about broadcasting these regattas and how, using drone footage. Why can't we do that? I watch events like sporting events that a lot of which have drone footage capturing what's going on. Why can't we use that technology? And it's relatively inexpensive to make that happen.
My concern about the lake is the pollution in the lake. When you shoot stuff over the lake, what goes up must come down. And my goodness, after the 4th of July, I can't even see across the lake from my business. That's how much is still just hanging in the air. Like we don't even go out to recess because it's so polluted. I'd be interested to see from Shannon if they've done any collection of samples and stuff from the lake after there's been a display above the lake. Now, I know a single display is nothing like Independence Day when it's all around the lake. It's going off, from homes as well. But that's my concern is the pollutants that land in the lake.
So I guess I'm hearing kind of two overarching action items in there. One would be potential list of places that could host such a display. So, I mean, I was kind of assuming the lake as well, but I mean, it would be good to know where else in the city we could do that, public or private. And then also what sort of technology infrastructure we could put in place to increase access to a show like that.
Yeah, if we are going to do it, I would be more inclined to support it if there were access to more people, because that's just limiting the number of people. Like I said, we have, I favor of that. With regard to the pollution, I mean, I would guess that pollution from power boats far exceeds that from a single event. So, I mean, I'm concerned for the well-being of the lake, but I high level confidence in our stormwater folks and how they manage that. But certainly we want it as a crown jewel of our city, and we certainly should be mindful of that. But I don't know, based on what I see from going off on the lake on every 4th of July, the city's portion would probably be a small portion of what takes place. So there's individuals that
It's just kind of a cumulative, right? So we've got the 4th of July, we've got Aquafest, right? There's fireworks with Aquafest. Now we're going to add another one. So it's just the accumulation, not that the one event in and of itself, but the accumulation of pollutants in our lake and the fish and the environmental impact it has on the whole ecosystem. I mean, because we have a pretty healthy lake from everything I've heard, and I just want to make sure we're making decisions to keep it that way.
I think Sarah might have something to add.
Yeah, I'd love to throw in there, 2 years ago after 4th of July, I know we have a lot of public input after the 4th of July from the noise. Back to residents who would rather not have the fireworks show around. At that time, I was directed by the mayor to look into the drone show and the cost. So I wanted to throw that out for the loop. A drone show is an environmentally friendly way to provide an entertainment show. I get they're not fireworks. But you can put out 100 drones for a very basic show. The cost is $250 per drone. That was one quote that I got. I would need to get quotes from other companies. In order to put on a decent show, you would need anywhere from 200 to 250 drones. That would take you up to around $50,000 or $60,000 in budget. They can fly up to 1,000 drones at a time. Those are the really large, complicated ones that you're seeing in large cities. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a possible option for you.
Okay, thank
If
you.
there was a way for us to see what something would look like that. I mean, I've never seen a drone display before, but I'd certainly be open to,
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that could be a compromise.
Yeah, Aquafest got a quote last year for a drone show and it was like $40,000. And it's like, yeah, no, thanks. Because we were thinking, we were trying to save money from the $19,000 for a fireworks show. Let's go to a drone show. And it's like, okay, that didn't work.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things is once you get over 200 drones, which would be closer to that 40,000 mark, 50,000 mark, you can start creating logos and designs.
Yeah.
And it's a way for you to bring in sponsorship dollars in order to recognize who sponsored the event. So we could look at options.
Okay.
We
So-
could research it.
So technology to improve access to whatever show, and then type of show, drones, fireworks, and I guess as part of that would be what locations could host either or both. Anything else?
I just want to say I do really like the banner and the flower pot idea.
All right.
To that.
And I will say we are actively working on banners right now. Those are going to come into play with the completion of Main Street. It's really what we're targeting. So we will have a standard banner that will be up year round, and then we will have seasonal banners. So 4 seasonal banners. And then we've already sort of asked the question about what would this celebratory banner look like, and already have made some inquiries about if there's a logo or something. So at least for that celebration, we can do an alternate, and they're not a super high cost, and it's already budgeted under our beautification plan. So there's no
Okay.
additional funds required right now.
Councilmember Ewing, you were referring to Monroe. They put out American flags,
American
not
flag.
banners, but American
They're actually
flags.
flags.
So,
And their street is specifically designed, so in their sidewalks, they have holders built
Yeah.
into their sidewalks.
and that's what you're referring to.
That is
next
exactly what
year
I'm
would
referring
be flags, not banners, right?
I would support something that, I mean, if you look at the countries in the world, and I talk to a lot of people, including in my neighborhood, who come from other countries, and I mean, they appreciate the opportunity and the freedom that exists here. And I hear that from virtually every single person from dozens of countries around the world. They're so appreciative of the opportunities they have here in America and here in Lake Stevens.
I'm just trying to clarify, we're talking about banners or flags?
I mean, if you go look at, I will be in Monroe I will intentionally drive to Monroe on the 4th of July so that I can watch that. I mean, I will go there to go drive that street.
But those are American flags. they
American
put up.
flags.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not banners. They have
Okay.
banners as well, but the American flags are on both sides of the street.
Okay.
So that would, but
If
we
you
don't
look
have the setup for it. It may not
Now,
work.
if you look at the flag code, the United States flag code, we're not supposed to have banners or replications of the American flag. If you're going to use a replication of an American flag, it needs to be a flag. So doing the banners and stuff with the American flag on it as a picture or a background stuff, that's not actually allowed by US code. But a lot of people do it. I mean, you're not supposed to wear the American flag either, so. you
Well,
see that all the
and
time.
flags can't be
People-
out
I almost
after
wore
dark
one
unless
tonight,
they're
just so
lit either.
I had to get rid
Right.
of my briefs that had, the American flag on it, but I agree that are we live?
Yeah, we're live. So
Okay, good. So I would agree that I would like to have flags also, but the banners would be something I think that the United States is trying to, or the United States is trying to tell us to do things like that would have a commemorative banner, not a flag, a commemorative banner for
That's correct.
50th year, right?
Yeah.
And then we'd have the flag. So if we were doing Main Street, we could core the sidewalk for flags and do the same thing. That's going to be rather expensive to get flags and poles, but I would like it too.
all right, something to look into.
I worry about vandalism. Flags are a lot easier to reach than a banner up on a pole.
All right. Any other input staff would like on that, or does that kind of give you guys a list?
Yeah, I think we've got some direction on next steps we can bring back to council. And in the meantime, we will continue to coordinate with the Historical Society to see what ideas and what level they want to participate in the event planning. And so we'll send them an update later this week or next week.
All right, sounds good. Okay, that moves us to 2B, 2B, council retreat. Oh, I hear an exhale.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Oh, okay. All right. Council retreat planning with Caitlin, who.
I can't ever pretend to be Caitlin Weaver, but I'm going to take this item
Okay.
tonight. Council retreat planning. So she sent a survey out to all of you. And thank you for a couple people that have responded to that. I think we do need to get some direction from you guys so that we can start figuring out a location and she can start doing the booking. So a couple things, and I think she asked this in the survey, but is really, can we do midweek or does it need to be a Friday or a Saturday? Do you want it to be a one day and just take care of all of our business in one day? Do you like the idea of an overnight where it's like 1.5 days? So we'll do a whole day and a half day, or a half day and a whole day. Just kind of get your feel and some direction so that we can kind of go off and get some venues looked at and figure it out. So, but this retreat is obviously mainly on budget and strategic planning. And we do think we could do it in a day. I think the benefit, you could argue, for the day and a half is just the networking and the dinner and the time together. So just wanted to put that out and see where you guys
So
are
if we're
at, if we
talking
can get a
about-
consensus.
A budget, we're talking about a biennial budget?
We're talking about the actual 2026 budget. So we're talking,
that period of time is when we go over the staffing, strategic staffing plan like we did last year when we were at the court. Strategic staffing plan and preliminary proposed budget. Kind of went through the entire thing, the entire kind of mayor's preliminary budget, gave the council to talk about it and say, no, I like this position, don't like that position, whatever that is. So that is mainly, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That is mainly that portion of the budget at that point. We can talk about a biennial budget again. I would love for the sewer district conversation to be done by then. To determine what that looks like. Obviously, we were kind of holding because we were like, if we get the sewer, we need to hold. If we don't, we need to do this. Biennial budget can't actually start until 2027, so we can discuss it. But it has to start in an odd year. You start planning for it in the even year for the odd years. So we can discuss that as well. We can dust that information
I wasn't
off.
asking for a discussion on it. I was just asking, are we doing the biennial budget when we're doing our budget that time? But you just answered that
No.
question. We're not ready for it yet, so I get it.
Correct.
So a 1 day is fine. I was just thinking if we're doing a biennial budget, could we do biennial budget in that format? Could we do it in 1 day?
Oh, gotcha. That would be a bigger conversation
Yeah.
because then you have to determine what type of biennial budget you want to do. Do you want to do 2 full years? Do you want to do 1 year at a time? Do you want to give? So there's a lot bigger discussion when we get to that point of if we want to go in that direction or not, and we did discuss how long we think it would take. And I think last year we took about 4 hours for staffing, strategic staffing, and then the budget, but it was kind of condensed because there were a lot of other subjects, traffic cams and some other capital things that were on the agenda as well. And I think we could easily go into, and I know council wants a little bit more information on like large ticket items, that kind of thing. Trying to keep it on the executive policy creation level versus the individual administration of the budget side of it. So that's part of it, but it's more if council's going to start adding additional things to the executive retreat, then it might spur into that day and a half. But I mean, we did a 1 day in, I think in Monroe 2 years ago, and it was mainly budget. Again, it was about 4 hours of budget and staffing. And then I think we talked about the civic campus and a few other things in there. So we definitely want to be cognizant of your time since you all have jobs and families as well. And so I think that's kind of where we land when it comes to executive retreat. It's for you. It is, that timing works really well with the budget process. I have some data I'm going to be sending out to council with more than just like the proposed schedule. It's by RCW, we have to hit specific dates for specific things in the budget. So I want to send some of that out and some more information about here's how our budget process kind of works and everything, and just get that to you probably while you're on break, just kind of go through it. And then, but that right then is usually once we actually get all of the requests in from the department heads and we put it through the first round of the mayor looking through and forecasting. And so that comes right at the beginning of September. And then by October, we're already doing public meetings. And so we have to kind of hit right in that area. So that's kind of why we look at that timing usually every year.
Yeah, beginning of September. Yeah.
And just to remind the council, is we did change the cadence. So we used to do the overnight retreat in the winter months, and we found that we didn't have enough agenda items that were meaty enough to have the overnight retreat. And that's why we decided this year to bypass that and do the 1 dayer in the winter. And then we're planning on doing the 1 overnight day in September because we knew we were having a full day of budget, and then potentially other subjects may come in that we would do on the half day. We are coming right out of a council break too at the end of August, and we're asking to do this retreat the first week of September.
Kelly, how much money did we spend on an overnight retreat?
Caitlin told me today that the bellwether was approximately $16,000.
16,000, $16,000.
Now that's the bellwether. It's very nice, and it, you know, the accommodations are very nice. The food is excellent. We can look at other places, but it's pricey, especially if it's a weekend or a Friday night.
Wow. I don't see why we can't have it right here. I don't understand why we need to travel 60 miles north of here with all the staff and spend $16,000 on an overnight retreat, especially when we're only there for a half day on the second day. Just seems like we have a workshop tonight that's probably going to last maybe 45 minutes. I don't see why we can't have a couple of workshops of maybe 2 or 3 hours apiece and maybe a full day or something. But to spend that kind of money, I think is truly not in our best interest.
I have to say, I was thinking along similar lines. I mean, the irony of it being a retreat where we don't go anywhere. I was thinking more in terms of the scheduling flexibility, trying to lock in dates. If we control the facility, I mean, obviously there's probably some rental considerations that may come into play, but that would, I would assume, make it easier for us to find times if, we're not worried about booking and, weekday versus weekend.
I think, yes, Sarah, I guess we would need to look at the mill scheduling for September. If there's any events going here. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it's good to bring that up. I think it's an important conversation. I know in the past, there's been concern about having it on the city campus, primarily because mayor and city staff were worried about being pulled away. If there's something that's happening and people know that you're here, that it's easier to just say, we need you to come over to the office for a minute, and then you aren't able to give this your full attention. So I'd love to turn that back to city staff and sort of get your opinion, but I feel really open to saving money. I think that's always good. The other thing I wanted to say about scheduling is I would much rather I don't want to feel pressured and rushed, and I want to have enough time to be able to have the conversation that we need to have around the budget and anything else that comes up. So I'm probably more in favor of allocating a bigger part of time. And then if we don't need it, we don't need it. That's great. And then the last thing I want to say is in terms of balance, it's hard to do 2 days during the week. Just personally because having to use my PTO time, not for vacation, but not that I don't really enjoy my time with all of you, but we have a really limited amount of time. So it's tricky to have to then use that time for this. So if we could do some long workshops are nice, but like a Friday, Saturday or something like that would be.
So like an all day Friday, half Saturday, or half Saturday if we
It's
need.
not more than one business day. That's a strong group.
And I would piggyback on what Angie's saying, and particularly the week that was chosen. That's the first week of school. I can't pull away from my business. That's the first week of our school year. For people that have families, that's the first week their kids are in school, and sometimes a new school. So when you talk about PTO, time that you're missing work because we have day jobs, and then time being pulled away from our family, that's for me is just a non-doable week. But I like if we are going to do an overnight of Friday and then half day Saturday, so we're not having to schedule so much time away from work.
I think we can, my observation in the years, I said, I feel like we could comfortably carve out enough time and be more efficient with our time. And if I'm on board, a hybrid between, I guess, what Gary and Angie was saying. I mean, if we did something that was, let's say, not here, but something within 15 minutes, 20 minutes of here, where if someone, it's just closer, it's less expensive. We're not doing the biggest expense that I understand it is the cost of the hotels for 25 people. And as far as the PTO, I expressed some concern that, I use, like Angie is saying, a lot of my PTO to do city council business. I'm happy to do that. And the frustrating part is I hear city staff saying it's inconvenient city staff. And I don't have the luxury of flexing my time with my day job because what city staff is allowed to do. And so if they have to work over, they can flex at the next time and, they work extra on Saturday, you can take time off on Monday or Tuesday, whatever the next week. None of us have that luxury of doing it with our day jobs. And so I would like to see more balance between acknowledging staff's time, but the council I just want to remind the city staff, the council all have full-time employment and they all have families. And the city council is on top of that. And so I would like to see more balance with that. Because I just think that would be more appropriate because I know everyone's got things going on. So I agree with Angie. We do not need to have enough time to have a discussion about things, but I don't know that we need significant amounts of time doing team building and other activities. I think those could be minimized or those could be minimized.
Hearing all this, my thinking is I want to come back to the kind of staff buffer, but I'm open to the idea and the benefit of some kind of, like, for lack of a better term, cocktail hour, but I mean, some kind of, networking where we're off agenda, and we can talk with staff and interact. But if in my mind, if we're going to do something like that, I would much rather use some kind of facility or business, off city campus here in Lake Stevens. I would rather keep any expenditure like that in the city and support a local business. Now, having said that, this is the first time I've really, been made aware of the potential conflict for you guys getting pulled away. So if that is, really an issue, I would want to know about that because I'd want to try and accommodate that as much as possible. But short of that, it seems to me a lot of these issues could be solved or severely mitigated if we did something, here in the city.
I really like the idea of supporting a local business. And I can just think of a number of businesses just right in the immediate area that
Yeah, exactly.
have banquet rooms or areas where we could, I've been to functions at several restaurants in the city that could accommodate.
How do you do that? Not like such
I don't-
favoritism or.
Bid it out, or I don't know. I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Right?
I mean, I'm assuming we could come up with a list of criteria, find the places that meet those criteria, and then it's, who can do what for what price. I mean, but
How did the Snohomish workshop go? I mean, that was local. I mean, it's not in Lake Stevens, but that was local and that was one day. What was the feeling about that
I think
space?
relatively positive. I don't know. I didn't hear, the mayor didn't love the acoustics for hearing in there. But maybe there's something we can do about that. But I don't, did you guys like it? There?
I personally thought we could have done the same thing here at the mill,
Okay.
but.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
I understand that it's easy to get pulled away, but, we're only, in Snohomish, we're only a phone call away too. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I know that I got called away on a telephone call that I had to take, but we happened to be on a break when it happened. So it's easy to come in here and just shut the thing off and tell everybody to leave you alone. So,
I would love to hear from city staff just about that.
I mean, if there's an emergency, we're gonna get pulled away no matter what. So.
The issue of
Getting pulled away.
getting pulled away. For me, I don't think that would be an issue if I clear my calendar. 15 minutes to take care of that. Would only bug me if there's a dire emergency, so I'm not personally concerned about that. Thinking about other options though, locally, we do have the upstairs of the building, to the police station where something is, so if that was an issue that people right here at this spot, they get pulled away with a little bit of pre-work, we could set up at the south end of the Lincoln Road.
I don't know that we would have AV though,
Have to go back to the little.
right?
Which
You have to
we,
go to little baby projector again.
which we haven't had.
Just real quickly,
these-
I just got a text. People can't hear us and to remind us to talk into a microphone.
I know we have two down. I apologize.
There's an extra one, right? Where'd it
Ours
go?
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Angie does.
Where'd it, wasn't there an extra one now? Oh,
I will say that I think sometimes it is hard for staff to like not be distracted and we have a lot going on in the park and all that. So to have like an all day retreat, it could be I can see, we've been in meetings here before where staff get pulled away. That's just the reality. But I like the idea or the compromise of like doing something offsite, like that's semi-local. I think the cost would be low, but I also, I appreciate what you said about the networking and the team building, because I think that's a really important part of what we did at the overnight retreats is I think this council and the management team have got great collaboration and communication. And I think that's in part of the time we spend together. And I don't want to lose that if we eliminate the overnight retreat. So it would be great to at least build something into the agenda or agree to have a dinner or something like that. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, we could find a place for dinner the night before and, have social dinner and then be an all day the next day here or somewhere else.
Yeah, the port was great too.
Yeah, this room's not available Saturday, the 6th of September. It was available the 13th, I think, of September, and again, I'm looking at Saturdays. I'm not sure if you do the dinner Thursday night and have an all day Friday, or if you'd want to do a dinner Friday night and have an all day Saturday.
We would be preventing a potential rental though, then for the time we use this. Yeah.
But if we,
Both Friday and Saturday, that's true.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Is it a $16,000 rental?
No.
But the 12th, 13th was available.
well, if we follow, I mean, Russ has a great suggestion. I mean, if that option exists to use another city-owned facility that's here and we could have a meal somewhere, a cater meal like we have here, bring it in and have buffet style like you do at a lot of places. And like we do at the retreats, they bring in buffet style, you go grab what you want to eat. And if what we want to eat is not available in Lake Stevens, we can get someone else to provide that.
So then am I hearing kind of want to keep it local and the next step would be potential locations that could accommodate that, either, here, the other city property. I know there'd be IT considerations or banquet facilities within the city, but not on city property. I mean, is that kind of where we're at?
With the dinner the night before and then the full day?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And if that is the case, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I mean, if we're just talking a dinner on a weeknight, for me, that's doable.
Okay.
I could, after hours, I could do that. I
Okay.
don't know about everybody else.
But as far as the full day, Steve, I want to be sensitive, or Councilmember Ewing, to what you had said about PTO time. Would you rather a full day Saturday?
I mean, I have commitments Saturday. I have commitments every Saturday.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't, I have 6-hour commitments on every Saturday. And so for volunteer work. And so like that takes away from that. And so I have significant responsibilities there. So it's a difficult thing to manage. And I know everyone else has got their own things that they're working with. So I wasn't able to attend the last one, maybe the last two. So I just want what's going to allow the most people to attend is going to provide the most benefit and the least expense, or a limited expense.
So I guess I didn't understand. So is Saturday an option for you? Or is that the better option? I guess I just want to, because I mean, that's one thing that I want to come out of this is, I want to prioritize attendance, the ability to attend, both on the staff side and the council side. I hate it when there's inevitable scheduling conflicts and somebody misses out on a day of working through stuff. So,
Well, I'll just tell you, I mean, I'll be blunt. I felt disrespected for the April one. I told people that I have a 25th wedding anniversary trip. This is when it's going to be. I know when my anniversary is. Marcus was getting married. Everyone knew when that was. And so they planned it when Marcus and I would not be able to attend. And the reason I was told that they wouldn't reschedule is because it wouldn't accommodate city staff. It wasn't a city staff retreat, it was a city council retreat. And so that, I mean, that's about as direct as I can be. So the city staff, and it was decided, I guess ultimately we approved it, that they would schedule on a day when two council members would not be able to attend. And so I felt like we disrespected Marcus and disrespected me. And so if someone has something where they know they're definitely not going to be available, like a once in a lifetime event that they're not going to be there,
Yeah.
the same week, we could probably work around that.
So hearing that, I mean, I guess I'm sorry, I'm still wondering, I mean,
I can
Are
do
you-
Saturday.
Saturday would be the more preferable day compared to like a Friday or a Thursday.
If we're efficient, I wouldn't want to do a sit in a meeting, and feel like that we need to be using our time efficiently.
Well, and I suspect cutting it down to a single day instead of a day and a half, we would have to be. So I'm significantly less concerned about efficiency going to a 1 day format with some kind of dinner, preceding that than trying to stretch out the material over a day and a half. Anyway,
I'd like to hear what others have to say. I've talked enough.
okay. Any other thoughts on that? Or do we kind of have a general direction? We can get some options and go from there.
I think one work day is better than two.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I think one work day is better than two. It started out 2 work days and it sounds like weekends. I think no matter what, it's going to require some juggling of schedules. I'm fortunate I'm fairly flexible, just the weekend chose for this particular one. There's just no way I can pull away from work.
Even if
just
we were in town.
too much, I can't miss a day's work. Too much going on that week. It's the very first day or very first week of the school year. I've got 2 school age programs and a preschool I'm running. I can't be gone the very first week of the school year. We're actually opening a second location, so it's going to be really busy fall.
Wow.
Or a third location, sorry. But like a following week, pulling one day like a Friday, I'm okay with, or even any other day during the week. If it's just one day, I'm good with. But 2 days in a row is a lot, especially when we also take time off to go to Olympia and we take time off to go to DC, right? And then we have our workshops on top of that. That time starts accumulating, especially if we have council members who maybe have changed jobs and they don't have the accumulation of PTO of a job they've been at for a long time, right? So I think we just got to take all those things into consideration. But one day out of a work week is definitely better than 2.
Let's split this up into 2 things. So I guess the first one is, are we all kind of in agreement that we would like to do something local?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we're clear on there. So as far as the where, either city owned or something in the city that we can support. As far as the days, I mean, the survey is still out and open, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I think if we all just respond to the survey, that answers, the day of the
I'm not
week,
sure that the survey specifically talks about the actual days. I think it talks about
days of the week.
prefer an all day Friday, all day
Right.
Saturday. Yeah.
So what were the
So-
results of that?
So it hasn't, as far as I heard, not everyone has responded. So if we all respond, that kind of gives us days of the week. And then the third thing I was going to say is if there are specific dates, in September that are blackout dates for you, I would suggest when we just can we email those to you? Say, hey, like Friday, what was it?
I think,
September 12th.
yeah, I think we really don't, staff doesn't want to go, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, go past that second week in September.
That would be preferable.
Yeah.
Just
Okay, so
So I think we're really honing in on
early
11,
September.
12, 13 of September, Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, either, again, the combination of Thursday, Friday or the Friday, Saturday.
Okay, so without having to redo the survey, if we just bear those dates in mind when answering the survey, would that work?
Yeah, you know what? I'll put out a new survey tomorrow.
Okay,
Just to make it.
Make it crystal clear.
Yeah.
okay.
And you can choose between,
We're all here.
okay. Yeah.
does everyone want to look at their calendar?
Let's just decide.
I thought about that. If
12th?
everyone's
Yeah.
comfortable doing that, I didn't know if anyone wanted to take some
Put it
time
on the
and
12th
look at their schedule. We want to do that.
or the 13th.
But the 13th is open. Sarah, will you look? I just want to be sure.
September-
If it was here. Okay, it is. Okay. Oh, she did. Okay. Okay, so we could do a dinner the night of Friday, the 12th and do an all-day session here, or if we decide to go to the Subway building all day on the 13th.
Works for me.
Does that,
The subway building isn't gonna have any network connectivity whatsoever.
No,
That's also Saturday.
would you
I-
rather have Friday, the 12th all day or Saturday, the 13th? all day?
I'd rather not take another day of PTO. I burned 10.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
So
Saturday.
So Saturday the 13th with a dinner Friday night.
What did you just say, Trey?
I said above the train center there's no wireless network technology.
We'll look into locations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this room
Yeah.
is open.
Just, right now.
Okay.
So we will find a local dinner option for the 12th, Friday night, the 12th. And we'll be all day in this room
Or somewhere.
or somewhere, maybe probably this room, but somewhere, Saturday, the
Yes.
13th.
And have some food catered in.
Yeah, and have some food catered in. Yeah,
Okay.
be great.
All those in favor?
Hi.
No voting.
Any
No, we-
opposed?
Tonight. But if I see a head nod, we can lean, we
Okay.
can get moving that way.
Oh, we're not allowed to vote during a
Not
workshop,
allowed to vote.
even unofficially? Okay.
They're like, woo.
I learned something. All right.
That's why the clerk's trying to check us or make sure we're not violating it.
No, thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
Councilmember Ewing, on the record, I apologize that you felt disrespected last time. I certainly don't want that to be the case this time.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Sounds like we got a plan.
Okay.
Okay. Barring anything else on that, I will move along. So one thing really quickly I want to do that's not on the agenda, the clerks very graciously provided me with a list of items. These, I cannot stress enough, are tentative, but agenda items for next week. So I just wanted to read those out really quick to make sure that there was nothing missing or that people didn't want to comment on. So got the overlay long line striping award by Public Works, boat launch department report from Parks, board and commission appointments, compensation connections kickoff, sales tax levy park resolution, potentially, we'll see how that pans out
Yeah.
as
well,
far as, yeah, as far as the,
Not a sales tax, but yeah, we'll bring that back.
or sorry, what okay. See, TIP draft presentation,
Is that TIB or TIP?
it says TIP,
I think it's TIP. I think
P
it's the,
as in Peter, TIP.
yes, Transportation Improvement Plan. Not
that-
the, not the
not-
TBD.
not the
It's the full capital transportation improvement plan that comes before the budget.
The tip.
Tip. It's the tip.
War Memorial Project, the downtown stormwater cost sharing agreement update, and then an update on the council vacancy process. That is what is currently on our draft agenda for next week. So, any thoughts, comments,
What was
additions?
the One before the council thing or the two before that?
So two before War Memorial Project, and then the downtown stormwater cost sharing agreement update.
Downtown cost sharing agreement, is that regarding the intersection over here?
Yeah. with the
I believe so.
district.
Yeah, I think the other developer, the other party is dropped out, I believe. And so
So it's a two-party
City.
agreement instead of a three-party agreement. Is that correct? Okay.
So, okay,
So can I just, I hope I'm not being inappropriate here.
me too.
So Marcus, on Saturday, the War Memorial at 3 p.m., the 28th, they're recognizing his military service and honoring him. And then on the following day, there's a memorial for him. And I believe each of the council members have been provided that information. Marcelo wanted to make sure that everyone has been apprised. So I believe everyone has been notified. Is that correct, of the time and location for that?
Is that the one out in Machias?
Yeah, Kim, you haven't gotten that?
I got the one from Machias. I didn't hear about the War Memorial one. I knew they were planning it, but I didn't hear what time it was or anything.
Well, I'd heard it was 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 28th,
That's what I have as well. Yeah.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
So, and as you guys know, I've talked to a lot of people just as far as around the town, and a lot of people are acknowledging the great work that Marcus has done in our community. So I think it'd just be appropriate to the extent that we're able to, to respect him and support Marcella, difficult time.
Do you need to send out a notice for the Sunday or Saturday? Since more than 4 of us will probably be there.
We aren't discussing council business.
Yeah, I don't-
Yeah,
Right. There's no reason to.
yeah,
Okay,
I think
okay.
that with the sensitivity of the issue as well, and I just
Okay.
please refrain from talking council business.
Oh, that I think
Majority of you.
that kind of be in poor taste.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about, I don't plan to have any work-related discussions.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at the announcement right here, and it's June 29th at 1 p.m. Machias Meadows, and it's on OK Mill Road. So it's over just off Machias.
Good question.
Okay. Well, then if there is nothing else, that moves us on to item 3, which is the executive session. confidential session to discuss potential litigation.
Per RCW 423110.
That
And
one.
how much time?
Greg, are we starting out with 10 or 15 minutes? What do you need?
Oh, well,
It's only your topic.
it was on the, I didn't really request it to be on the agenda tonight. I don't think we need to discuss it tonight. I thought it'd be better when the mayor was back. We're not in a time crunch
You know-
at the moment.
If I'm not speaking, okay. I know the mayor did want to be part of the conversation, but he is in DC. I don't know.
Yeah, if we can put it over a week, I think that would be fine.
When's the next meeting?
Next on the 24th. Unless there's a desire with
Well-
council to talk to Greg tonight.
I mean, it's hard to ask questions about it without.
Well,
Asking
I guess as much as I'd like to
Well,
have.
we can have a short one, and we can always cut
Yeah. might be the best.
Yeah. I
set
think
it
so.
again for later. That's fine.
We're to have a brief one. I mean, we're the ones ultimately going to be voting, not the mayor.
Sure.
Sure. So
Sure. So
Why don't we take 10 minutes?
10 minutes sounds good.
Okay, Greg,
Okay.
you have a Teams link that you'll need to switch over to?
No.
Please.
Yeah, I'm just going to close out of this one and I'll open up the executive session link.
Okay.
I'll do that right now.
She's still showing. But I need All right, it's required by RCW. I need to announce the time. It's 6:53. Let's take a 2-minute break here to get the speaker set up. 6:55 to 7:05 will be the executive session. Okay, so the council has requested an additional 10 minutes. It's 7:05. We'll be back at 7:15. Okay. just
I'm
adjourn
going
it.
to. Okay, meeting adjourned.
It's 7:16. Thank you.